Thank you, David. 7 months ago, it was a Grey Cup Classic. Today, the rematch on the prairie. The Rona Canada Day CFL season kickoff as the Saskatchewan Roughriders meet the defending Grey Cup champion, Montreal Alouettes. And as you might expect, the 13th man is back with a vengeance here at Mosaic. It is hot and muggy. Wind shouldn't be a factor, but thunderstorms in the forecast might be.
Darien Durant, in his second year as a starter, threw for over 4,000 yards last year in his first year as a starter, but this is his 5th year with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Has been looking forward to this game for 6 straight months. Anthony Calvillo, back-to-back Outstanding Player Award winner and Grey Cup champion, says he wants to play 2 or 3 more years.
There was the Coach of the Year in 2009 who sent a letter to each of his players, making sure they were ready to go in the follow-up season to a Grey Cup, and Ken Miller just trying to put some distance behind last year's November finale and the disappointment that it brought.
Happy birthday, Canada.
Is there any better way to celebrate than a Grey Cup rematch here at Mosaic? The 2010 season underway. And this is the rookie Tim Maypray, who won't get his hands on the ball as Louis Sakota kicks it out. An illegal kickoff and good field position for Anthony Calvillo to start the 2010 campaign.
Calvillo will have a familiar cast around him in the backfield. Avon Colburn.
Illegal kickoff. Saskatchewan number 3. First down on the 45-yard line.
And one guy that really didn't need a lot of convincing to come back for another year, Ben Cahoon. One phone call, they said, yep, we'll be back. Both Anthony Calvillo and his go-to guy back in the lineup. On the offensive line, a surprising retirement of the all-star Brian Chu, but they'll move Paul Lambert into center. Play here this season.
Remember a year ago in Calgary, the season opener, Alouettes marched for 2 straight touchdowns in their opening possessions. This one is intercepted. Lance Fraser, who led the Roughriders last year in interceptions, and what a start for the home side.
One thing Anthony Calvillo told us yesterday is that he's got to try and control this crowd with a few first downs. It's hostile territory, and Saskatchewan jumps first because the ball is bobbled by Jamel Richardson on the little curl route. And Lance Fraser right in position, but that was a tight window to get the football in.
Hard to hang that one on the quarterback, who tossed only 6 interceptions all last season. So look at where the Riders started there at the Montreal 35. Wes Cates slides off first contact for about 1.5 yards as we set the Roughriders offense for you.
Told you all about Darien Durant, the great season he had in his first year as a starter. Here's his receiving corps. He lost Weston Dressler. Really didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver in 2009, but that's because of the injury to Dressler. He is healthy and back in the lineup. There's your offensive line. Dan Goodspeed cut loose in Hamilton. Free agent signing for Saskatchewan, will play tackle.
2nd and 8. Flag flies. Durant dumps it off underneath. Rob Bagg breaks a tackle. And Bagg steps out short of the first down. Again, a penalty marker down. Rob Bagg, a broken collarbone on the final offensive play of last year's Grey Cup game for Saskatchewan. Thrown offside against the Alouettes.
When you look at these two teams, very different off seasons, obviously. Montreal Alouettes woke up every single morning feeling fantastic. They woke up thinking that it doesn't get any better than this.
Offside, Montreal number 7. That penalty is declined. Major foul, roughing the passer. Montreal number 7. Half the distance to the ball, automatic first down.
Double whammy for John Bowman.
You see him jump offside. He's in that neutral zone. Then he's on the outside working on Joel Bell. And they will protect the quarterbacks this year. There's been focus on protecting them. You got to be careful. Make sure you don't hit him after that ball has left his hands.
Half the distance, takes it to the 14, a first down, and Cates Ran through the tackle of Jermaine McIlvaine for a couple. John Bowman finished him off.
You mentioned Jermaine McIlvaine. He's going to replace Karan Williams, who left Montreal. One of the few guys that left this football team to sign with the BC Lions. So Jermaine McIlvaine will play in his spot. And then when you look at the secondary, one change there at the wide side corner. Well, really two. DeAndre Dix and Stanford Samuels both did not play in the Grey Cup, but Samuels replaces Davis Sanchez at that wide side corner.
2nd and 8. Durant complete. And it will be short of the first down. Chris Getzlaff, part of that Canadian Air Force of the Saskatchewan Roughriders with the catch.
Canadian Air Force +7. So we're going to call him. And until Precier Rodriguez steps up, because he's the newcomer in the receiving corps, but Weston Dressler, a big part of the playmakers in the Saskatchewan receiving corps.
Roughriders got the early jump last November with a 2-touchdown first half lead on the strength of a couple of turnovers. And here, after the interception, Luka Kanji comes on. And Kanji with a short chip shot of 17 yards breaks the ice on the 2010 season. 3-0 Riders on the sidelines. Sarah Orleski.
Well, Chris, there's no denying that this is the Grey Cup rematch, but if you talk to Riders players, most of them would wish that we would just refer to this as game 1 of the season. After the Grey Cup loss last year, an emotional head coach Ken Miller said this is a game that will haunt us, a loss that will haunt us for the rest of our lives. Well, so far, 7 months later, that's still holding true. Ken Miller said that it took him months in order to watch the game. He still hasn't watched it with any commentary. And Darien Durant, who broke down every game from last season, taking up to a week on each individual game, said that he didn't watch the Grey Cup game until last week.
Durant's pass falls incomplete, intended for Rob Bagg, and that one looked like it was up for grabs.
It's been a very difficult offseason because the Saskatchewan Roughriders want to get it behind them. They want to move forward. That's why they've been looking forward to this game, especially this matchup, for 6 straight months. But it will stick with them forever. What they want to do is start to take the first few steps to leave it behind, and a win in this game this afternoon would, boy, that would go a long way in doing that.
2nd and 10. Durant steps out. McIlvaine in pursuit. And Darien Durant has a first down.
This is what he's capable of. I mentioned he threw for over 4,000 yards, but Darien Durant can also use his legs to break down a defense when he doesn't like what he sees down the field. A little alley opens up, a nice move there to find the backside of the formation open. Move in the open field on Gerald Brown, and a big first down for the Riders.
18 yards on that run, and here's Dressler. Does he throw the ball? He does. Mike McCullough with the catch at the sidelines as the Roughriders show us their first gadget play of the year, but it goes for naught.
Weston Dressler made a quarterback-type decision in the open field because he comes from the left to the right of your screen. Now, he's designed to get out there. If he likes what he sees, he can run. If he doesn't, he throws it out of bounds and saves a loss.
Jason Armstead no longer here on a play last year similar to that, through a touchdown pass to Andy Fantuz in Winnipeg.
He plants the seed.
2nd and 10. 6 receivers out. Cox off the edge, and the pass over the head of Getzlaff incomplete. Well, there are some new faces here in Saskatchewan.
Starting with the coaching staff, Doug Barry will communicate with Darien Durant, the new headsets, and Paul LaPolice, now the head coach with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They acquire Precier Rodriguez. Interesting to see how he fits into this offense. Baron Simpson, the defensive side of the ball. Ryan Dinwiddie, former Blue Bomber, is the backup quarterback for Darien Durant. Won the job in training camp. Of course, everyone talking about the loss of John Chick and Stevie Baggs.
Sakota, the rookie Maypray, back, and he'll field it at his 30, get the no yards call, as Kitwana Jones was inside that 5-yard restraining area. And that should be a 15-yard penalty against Saskatchewan.
Yes, it will. And you're looking at Brent Hawkins there coming on the field.
No yards. Saskatchewan, number 26. A 15-yard penalty, first down.
So Kitwana Jones, the guilty party. Our starting lineups are brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona doing it right. And let's take a look at that Saskatchewan defense.
Yeah, I mentioned Brent Hawkins because he and Luke Mullender will be the two that replace John Chick and Stevie Baggs. All eyes on them. Big shoes to fill for both of them in that defensive front seven. In the secondary, Eddie Davis is gone, and Chris McKenzie replaces him.
Brian Bratton is the ball carrier, and he got to the edge and turned it upfield. So different look for the Alouettes as Mark Trestman has a whole off season to add to his playbook.
And you got to think that Brian Bratton is just in that area where he's ready to take another big leap in his career and maybe become a 1,000-yard receiver. Last year, just over 600 yards. Rotating through that receiving corps. Can also return kicks.
14 yards for Bratton, who made a big catch in the late stages of the Grey Cup game. A first down at the Rough Rider 49. And now it's Coburn, who was so dominant in the Grey Cup with his first carry.
It looked like it took the Montreal Alouettes a couple of series just to settle in. An interception on the first one, a 2-and-out on the second. And now Mark Trestman's offense is starting to get into their comfort zone a little bit. And when they're in their comfort zone like they were a year ago, it's when they have balance. The receiving corps is involved. They get the running game going with Avon Coburn. Scott Milenovich is the offensive, calling the plays. Trestman calls them, gives them to Milenovich. He gives them to AC.
2nd and 3. Kerry Carter in the block. Coburn with the carry. And he slides across the 40 and will be close to a first down. There's the newcomer, Brent Hawkins, the Hawk, with his first tackle. A guy that they said Saskatchewan players had trouble blocking in camp.
Great start to training camp. He did get injured and sort of missed about a week near the end, but he's back from that injury. Feels good. Didn't like his own performance. Critiqued his own performance. Played 20 games in the National Football League. Was there for a few years, and boy, there are some expectations hanging over Brent Hawkins and Luke Mullender.
Coburn heading up for a first down. Montreal at the Rough Rider 39. A lot of time and a wide open receiver. Kerry Watkins, touchdown. 39 yards. Anthony Calvillo to Kerry Watkins.
Straight post pattern from Kerry Watkins to the short side of the field, and he gets great separation. He's working on the inside of Chris McKenzie. It'll be to the left of your screen. The ball right on the money, and Kerry Watkins makes no mistake. Catches that one right between the 8 and the 1, just in front of Chris McKenzie.
Watkins has scored touchdowns in each of the first 3 games last year, including the first catch of the season for Montreal into the end zone. Has done it again here.
Okay, man.
Duval the extra point, and now the Alouettes have the lead on the Rona Canada Day kickoff.
Beginning of last year, Jim Popp had an idea. Why don't we move Chip Cox from the secondary down to linebacker? It paid off. He led the team in tackles, and he makes big plays on the special teams as well.
Best start for Montreal here. A pump and go and an open man. Jamel, or S.J. Green. Touchdown. Just like that. Back-to-back touchdowns for Anthony Calvillo.
Just like that. The Montreal Alouettes are back in their offensive groove, and this is what we're used to seeing from Anthony Calvillo. If you give him some time, you have to be perfect in the secondary, and Saskatchewan wasn't. They get caught shallow in his own defense. It looked like it was Lance Frazier that was a little short, S.J. Green in behind him, and just like that after the block kick, Alouettes take advantage of that momentum.
2 touchdown passes for Calvillo in the opening quarter. This 48-yard strike to S.J. Green, who had a couple of touchdowns a year ago in a reserve role. The extra point from Duval. And Mosaic gets quiet early.
I told you I would get it.
Boy, how other receivers can influence a defensive secondary. I want to show you Donovan Alexander and Lance Frazier, who are going to get in trouble here because they're peeking. You see right here, there's 2 defensive backs. Now watch as the Alouettes go. I'll just call when the freeze. Here it goes. Now right there, freeze it there. Both defensive backs looking right here at the short receiver, and look who sneaks in behind him, S.J. Green. Trouble. That's when a defensive back turns around and goes, oh, drop it, drop it, drop it. No shot. S.J. Green in the end zone, taking advantage of that momentum after the block kick on the teams.
S.J. Green, not one of the heralded offensive threats, but Mark Trestman made special mention of him when we talked to him yesterday, because he felt that in the last 10 minutes of the Grey Cup game, every member of the team made a significant play, and he pointed out that S.J. Green made one of those key blocks that helped the comeback for the Alouettes in Calgary.
I believe it was on the Kerry Watkins catch that was an important one down the stretch, and that's a good, that's a good message to send to kids that are watching this game. If you're a receiver, it might not be when you're catching the ball. Your coach is watching the entire package, and a couple of big blocks really impressed the coach from S.J. Green.
Again, with the wind at his back, that one drilled. Is it going to get to the end line? It does. And so they'll bring the ball out. No point scored, 14-3. And a little heat now on Darien Durant to answer.
He hasn't really been able to sustain any real sort of offensive pressure. He got that first drive out of the gate, but it ended in a field goal. And you could see after they didn't finish that first drive, the Riders, that the new offensive coordinator, Doug Barry, who will be communicating with Darien Durant, former Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they lost a little momentum when they had to settle for a field goal on that first drive. Really had Montreal kind of reeling in the first couple series. Haven't been able to capitalize on it.
Start at the 25. Cates, nothing there. Shea Emery, the Canadian middle linebacker who had the breakout season in 09, steps up and fills the hole.
Right in the middle of the defense, and he does just step up there nicely, cuts underneath the pulling guard there, or it was actually the tackle in Dan Goodspeed.
No gain, 2nd and 10. Durant stands in, open is Dressler, first down catch, and he'll fall out of bounds at the 46 at the Montreal bench.
That's exactly what the Riders need. They have to start to try and keep pace, and one thing that I think people talking about this league knew going into this season, that in the West, you are going to see offenses that have a lot of weapons and defense that has a lot of questions. And Anthony Calvillo has taken advantage of some of those questions in the Saskatchewan defense in the last couple of drives. Darien Durant now has to try and keep pace.
21 for Dressler, who has 3 on the game so far. I've not heard from Andy Fantuzis yet. Now he'll get the call, and stepping up is Stanford Samuels from the corner. Mark Castell not in the lineup. He is injured, and Davis Sanchez, the other Grey Cup corner for Montreal, is now a BC Lion.
Stanford Samuels, you mentioned, will play that wide side. Often plays beside Gerald Brown.
He'll be pumped up once cut by Brendan Tammon, the general manager of the Roughriders. So he wants to make a point. 2nd and 8. 6 receiver pack and over the middle. Off the fingertips of Shea Emery. We do have a penalty marker down on the play.
Jeff Robertshaw was in the game. Looked like he was lined up as a defensive lineman, then dropped and might have got his hands on Wes Cates.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Montreal, number 41. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
It was the UBC product, Shea Emery.
They were both over there. To the right of your screen, Wes Cates trying to get to the middle, and it was Shea Emery who made the contact, and it was Robert Shaw who was dropping underneath that throw and got his hand on it.
It's about 3 passes in Cates' direction here in the opening quarter, under 2 minutes to go. Cates in the ground, and his best run into Alouette territory to about the 47-yard line for Wes Cates.
Jermaine McElveen, we mentioned as one of the big changes with the Montreal Alouettes this year on that defensive line. He's been with the organization, but Karan Williams left, signed as a free agent for the BC Lions, so he's gone. Joining him with the Lions is Davis Sanchez. You mentioned him, Chris, earlier, and there's the newcomers with a couple of injuries. Gavin Walls out for a while.
Walls a serious knee injury. We might see O.J. Santiago, the NFLer from Whitby, Ontario, in the next week or two. Darien Durant on second down. The pass and back was jolted from behind. He thought prematurely an argument at the Rough Rider bench, but Billy Parker breaks it up. And there is no flag.
Billy Parker breaks his play up. It was close, but Billy Parker breaks it up, but it's Chip Cox underneath that causes the problems for Darien Durant. Does a nice job here of extending the play with his legs. He's buying some time for his receivers to open. And see underneath there, Shea Emery, and right there, number 11, he has to throw it over Chip Cox and try and drop it into the hands of his intended target bag. And you can see that's why the fans are a little upset. Maybe a little early from Billy Parker, but no flag.
And the reaction as they watch the replay here at Mosaic. There's the rookie Tim Mapray.
Counting to make sure that there are just 12 on the field.
That was Glenn Suter who said that. That punt bouncing out of bounds inside the 20-yard line.
I remember last year we mentioned it, that the start that the Montreal Alouettes got. They lost to the Calgary Stampeders in the Grey Cup and came back the next year in the first 2 series. Kerry Watkins found the end zone. 6 and a 5-play drive. Avon Coburn on the second drive. They got off to a slower start after being the champions coming into Mosaic Stadium with an interception and then a 2-and-out. But he's on a roll now. 4 plays, 64 yards, and then the big one, 48-yard touchdown.
They're deep in their own zone, and he is drilled. There's Omar Morgan. They call him the godfather of this defense.
And of course, Chris, new to the Canadian Football League this year will be Anthony Calvillo, and every quarterback will have the speaker inside of their helmet, just to the right, that black circle there. He will be able to now listen to his offensive coordinator or another player. In this case, it'll be Scott Milenovich. So Mark Trestman will call the play. He'll give it to Scott Milenovich, who will communicate it out to Anthony Calvillo if they can fight through this crowd.
The 13th man steps up, second and long. And a completion to Jamel Richardson. That's going to be close to a first down. Lance Frazier with the tackle on the final play of this first quarter that started ominously for Montreal, but then Calvillo and company got going. First quarter stats are brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
Well, Saskatchewan Roughriders came out of the gate like everyone thought they would, with a little bit of an edge and a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Good first drive. Calvillo throws an interception in his first series. Really not his fault, but there was an interception. But boy, has he found some traction over the last few series, and that Montreal offense is rolling.
First of a doubleheader to kick off a brand new season, and think things are really up for grabs. Montreal, I think, though, has displayed they are going to be the team to beat, even if Mark Trestman doesn't want to call them defending champions.
No, minimal changes, and you know it's natural that they're going to take a couple of series at least, to try and get back into the flow of the football game after being champions and going the whole off season, waking up every morning thinking this is the best as it'll ever get. Saskatchewan Roughriders woke up every morning in a bad mood.
Richardson had enough for a first down. And now it's Maypray at quarterback. I was going to mention that he was a threat in a variety of positions at the Virginia Military Institute. Played a little quarterback, receiver, had running back time, kick returner, punt returner, does it all, and we see the Wildcat for the first time in 2010.
And you have a good football team, and Montreal has been the team of this decade, really. It is hard to make the roster for a rookie.
Short game for Maypray, 2nd and 8. Calvillo slinging right to the left side and has a completion, and Kerry Watkins, who has a touchdown catch, has a first down. 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons for the team barber, Kerry Watkins.
Really amazing that when we talk about Kerry Watkins, he's almost considered underrated. I mean, when you look at his numbers, he's a guy that somehow gets lost when you're talking about the best receivers in the league, and yet he is so consistent. They can do so much with him. He's got the big playability, can get down the field and beat you, getting him behind you, but he can make those intermediate catches as well.
1st and 10. Fumble. And Calvillo's just going to eat the football. Back at the 35.
Made the All-Canadian team last year, so the media did notice, you know, how good Watkins is. It's funny that his name doesn't really come up in the conversation when you talk about some of the all-time greats, but that's consistency, folks, and that's what coaches love. They have the risk and the reward players, where you see one big play and then a couple of drops. They'd rather have a Kerry Watkins who's 1,000-yard receiver every single year.
81 catches for number 81 a year ago. 2nd and 17 and a penalty marker down. And there's Ben Cahoon with the catch. He's cut down by the safety, James Patrick. Short of the first down. We'll sort out the marker.
Sure does show the maturity of this offense, though, when you're 2nd and 17, you throw it underneath to Ben Cahoon.
Offside, Saskatchewan, number 26. That penalty is declined. First down.
Throw it underneath to Ben Cahoon, and he goes up. I'm not sure. Did he get to the first down?
Wait a minute, Kim Murphy. He's a yard short.
But Ben Cahoon is in the back of that bunch right there. And this is the maturity in this offense. They're not going to force the ball down the field, dump it off to the open man, and let him do something with it afterwards. And Ben Cahoon, I'm not sure if he got there, but he is very, very close. They're taking another look at it now.
I wonder when Calvillo got the options, whether he was told that if you decline the penalty, you've got a first down. Because it's going to be 3rd and at least a yard. Maybe they'd rather have the 5-yard penalty and 2nd down over. Let's see. Seemed to be some confusion there and a bit of a debate.
Well, if it's a yard or less, then they'll take the yardage by Ben Cahoon and have to have confidence at midfield in their offense to get that yard or less. But if it's a long 2 and we're trying to get the measurement, they're going to take a look, then yeah, you might want to go 2nd down and 12, take the penalty, and try and move the chains from there. But we'll take a look. They're taking a measurement here. Ben Cahoon thought he got it.
At least a yard, so they are.
Saskatchewan, number 26. The penalty is accepted. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Yeah, and the fans are upset because they're saying that Anthony Calvillo made his decision, so he can't change his mind. But I believe the mistake was made by the official in the communication. Turned around to say, if you decline the penalty, you get the first down. And then when Anthony Calvillo went back over, he said, wait, you said first down. He said, no, I made a mistake. It's actually 3rd and over a yard. He said, okay, then we'll take the penalty.
No question.
And that's the right thing to do.
They don't get to just change their mind on their own.
No, so that's the right thing to do. Even though Rider fans don't think so.
was just over a yard. It's a confident offense that likes 2nd and 12 better than 3rd and a yard. Look inside, there's Jamal Richardson. Had the rough start, he's upended there. Mike McCullough, the backup middle linebacker for Baron Simpson. Out of St. Francis Xavier, breaks it up, and so it will be 3rd down and a kicking situation.
Yeah, it was interesting, that decision by Mark Trestman, and I think it was because it was over that yard. That's sort of the magic point. If it's over that yard, even if it's a yard and a half, that's a long yard and a half. Probably would have punted there. He gets 2nd and 12. He's held short. He's still punting.
Dominic Dorsey awaits. Puncher! And Duval just got it away. Dorsey on the run, draws the no yards. That'll be a 15-yarder. Good play by Dominic Dorsey. You're watching the Rona Canada Day kickoff. Mark Trestman's crew up by 11. Let's rejoin Sarah Orleski.
Chris, there are always some questions in Game 1 about how the defending champions will play. Well, the Alouettes say that they don't refer to themselves as the defending champions, and that's a message that's come down straight from head coach Mark Trestman. They don't want to refer to themselves as that this year. They said that as soon as they had player personnel changes, they became a whole new team, and so you won't see complacency with the group this year.
Wes Cates slashes off the right side into the open field. Wes Cates in a puck race. A Chip Cox will haul him down inside the 10. That's the Wes Cates the Riders are hoping to see in 2010.
And this is not about complacency for the Montreal Alouettes, because you won't see that, but you will see some great open field running here by number 20. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, Wes Cates, because when he hits that first level right there, breaks one tackle from Eric Wilson. Now he's in the open field, and a great shifty move on Matthew Prue. Big yardage for Wes Cates.
57 yards. His longest a year ago was 37. From the 9, 1st and goal. Durant, keeper, touchdown.
Great running game, sets up the play action, and Darien Durant here has a chance to either throw it or run it. And this is the pushback that this team needed right here. There's the play fake right there. That draws the defense in. Once the defense is drawn in and John Bowman loses contain, Darien Durant has the corner, and it's a foot race.
2 running plays, 66 yards, a 9-yard touchdown for Darien Durant. Gets the Rough Riders back in it. Luke Dukanji, the extra point. 4-point Montreal lead, 14-10 on the Rona Canada Day kickoff game.
Tad Cornegay indecisive on that last run from Anthony Calvillo, still feeling the effects from the Jamel Richardson hit a couple of plays ago, as he wasn't sure to come up and cut Calvillo off or stay back in coverage. And this is the effect that a hit like that can have on a player. It takes you 2 or 3 plays to get back and get your senses.
He's out for 3 now, and Daniel Francis into the game at the Sam linebacker spot. Swung out here to Bratton, who lost his footing at the line of scrimmage with Lance Fraser bearing down on him.
Boy, it sends a message that the receivers come back and make a hit like that, Chris. Tad Cornegay, even on that play, we saw him dropping. Now, he'll have to wait out a few plays, but he had his head on the swivel. He was looking back at the coverage to see if anyone else was coming to put that big hit on him again. And then he showed a little bit of a limp, too, so he may have hurt one of his legs there. It looks like they might be looking at his hip.
A yard for Bratton, 2nd and 9, and Calvillo is 9 for 9 since opening the game with an interception. 10 for 10. S.J. Green the catch, but he'll be short as Omar Morgan was on his hip.
The question is how short. Omar Morgan is going to be looked upon to provide leadership for this secondary. Eddie Davis was a coach on the field for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he retired. And they will look to the 12-year veteran, Omar Morgan, for some leadership there. A good tackle in the open field, but they're inside a yard. Wouldn't be surprised to see Montreal go ahead and try and get this. I think they're back in their groove.
He certainly is. Well, they elected not to gamble on 3rd and 1.5 yards when they had the redo on a penalty earlier in this quarter.
I think this will be inside of that. It is about a yard, though.
Full yard in field goal range.
And Ricky Santos is in.
And the short yardage defense comes out for the Roughriders.
Good yard now, Green. Good yard now. Good yard, Green.
Santos, good plunge there behind the rookie guard, Luc Brodeur-Jourdain. And Josh Burke, the left tackle, and they cleared out enough for a first down.
A bit of a natural pocket there for Santos to go to that left side, and the guy that he's looking at is where is the undersized lineman and Kitwana Jones going to line up. As soon as he sees Kitwana Jones, who's right over the center, Paul Lambert, he sees that there's going to be a bit of a natural bubble there, and he takes a good lunge forward and has the first down. Kitwana Jones made a good play in this game already for the Riders on defense. He's got a great motor, but doesn't have a lot of weight in his backside for the interior of that defensive line.
Roughriders showing blitz here. Now Calvillo takes a look, and he's got a man open. Kerry Watkins has another as he got behind Donovan Alexander for his 2nd touchdown catch of this opening half.
Tremendous route runner. We saw him with a 3-move play early in the first to get a touchdown. He comes back here, and a good move using the entire field because he's lined up to the left on the wide side of the field, but he's going to bring Donovan Alexander way down inside the numbers and then just simply fade away from him and let his quarterback throw him open to the outside shoulder. This is a good football team.
Give me the ball, please.
They have been fast starters, Glenn.
I know that's not breaking news. 13 of the last 15 years in the Eastern Final, 7 of the past 10 Grey Cups they've been participants.
Duval extra point. 3 touchdown passes for Calvillo in this first half, and Kerry Watkins the recipient of a pair.
Kerry Watkins digging into his bag of tricks. We saw him do the 3-move route. Now watch him this time do a little stop and go and then take off and catch Donovan Alexander. We saw him try and use fluid moves, in, out, in, out. Now look at stop, 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 and then boom, he takes off. As soon as he sees the feet of Donovan Alexander chop, he takes off outside and lets his quarterback throw him to the outside shoulder.
And when you consider Calvillo's only incompletion was an interception that was bobbled by his receiver, virtually a perfect first half for the 3-time outstanding player in the Canadian Football League.
Boy, there's a lot of weapons in this offense. Kerry Watkins has shown you one of them. Seen a couple of big catches from Ben Cajon. Jamel Richardson with a block that rocked that Rider defense a little bit. Certainly Tad Cornegay. And it looks like Anthony Calvillo is right back in that groove.
Duval with a bouncer to Dorsey. Trying to find something. And a surge across the 35. Walter Spencer, Paul Waldo, a couple of guys with roots here in Saskatchewan on the tackle.
That's how good the Montreal Alouettes were in 2009. Just behind Baltimore back in '95. Overall wins in a season when you consider and ask the question, can the Alouettes repeat in 2010? Well, the last teams to do that were the Toronto Argonauts of 97-96, who repeated. It was the last time it happened. And the question is, can Mark Trestman's squad get it done in 2010?
That repeat word, one he's not using, but it'll be talked about all season long. Fantuz in motion. And a reverse here. That's to Dressler. Chris Sarnia in front. And Diamond Faria. Good defensive play to limit the damage.
Early in the first quarter, the Riders ran this play, and Dressler threw it out of bounds because all the defensive backs had jumped up. Well, they saw him throw it on the last one. Well, this time he comes around, and this time the defensive backs for the Alouettes are going to stay on their man. That gives Dressler a little bit of room in the open field.
$15 for Dressler on the ground. A first down at the Rough Rider 51. Fake to Cates. Breaks the tackle. Long out, and that's over the head of Dressler.
Anthony Calvillo, 300th career touchdown pass as a Montreal Alouette, and has 3 in the first half of this football game.
357 career touchdown passes, including his totals from Hamilton and Las Vegas.
Als fans gonna like to hear this. I asked him yesterday, you feel so good, could you play 2-3 more? I said, yes, I could. Absolutely could.
Oh, David Allen feels good about that. Records in jeopardy. Flag down. Durant over the middle. And choose the catch. What's the call?
Let's see what this penalty is.
I think it's coming back.
Lots of movement on that O-line. Wes Cates was trying to hit the line of scrimmage in motion out of the backfield. Not sure if it was him or it could have been one of the D linemen.
Offside, Montreal number 72. Wow. That penalty is declined. First down.
Jeff Robertshaw. I knew Wes Cates was very close. Cates is there, Robertshaw here. And it was just a matter of which one timed it up right. And you can see the movement.
Dressler's 2 yards offside. And Robertshaw got it. Should have been offsetting. Riders get a break. And the Fantuz catch stands. A pump from Durant. And looking for Dressler, but he was well covered.
No, he did not bite at all. Gerald Brown was back in the outside third. And what that is simple zone defense where the halfback has the deep third of the field. And like the Montreal Alouettes influence the Saskatchewan defense, you run a short receiver out there, and you hope the defensive backs bite on that, and Dressler tries to get in behind him, but Gerald Brown was not fooled at all. He was in perfect position.
Glenn, we haven't heard from 85, Preche Rodriguez, the acquisition from Hamilton, the new wideout. 2nd and 10, pressure, chip, Cox, ball loose, McIlvain's got it. Jermaine McIlvain as Chip Cox comes off the edge on the blitz.
He really timed it up well. Chip Cox is going to line up back in that linebacking core about 3 yards off the line of scrimmage, and Darien Durant doesn't count him. He's up here, and he has just moved up there. This is picking it up just as he stepped up a couple of yards. Durant doesn't count him as one of the guys. If he did, he would have rolled away from him to buy himself some more time because he would have known he's unblocked. But Chip Cox snuck in there, caused the fumble. Jermaine McIlvain replacing Karan Williams with the recovery.
So the Alouette offense back to work for the red-hot Calvillo, and there is a flag. Richardson was held up en route by Lance Fraser.
Now the new rule, or the new interpretation of pass interference in the Canadian Football League this year, is basically that if the officials figure that the ball is not catchable and it has been in the air, they will not call pass interference.
Pass interference. Saskatchewan number 15. Automatic first down.
Ball is is in the air. There's the contact. Ball's in the air. The question was, could Jamel Richardson get to that one?
Here's Avon Coburn, high stepping off the left side. Able to carry that football up inside the 35.
I know Rider fans will want to see this again because the interpretation now, and this is new this year, if the officials feel that Jamel Richardson here could not get to the football, in other words, this ball was not catchable, then the play will not be called as pass interference. In their estimation, based on that call, they felt that Jamel Richardson could run under that pass. I'm not so sure.
8 for Coburn, 2nd and 2. Avon Coburn again, and he'll get the first down. A couple of 100-yard games for Coburn last year against this Rough Rider defense in the regular season. They're giving the 3-minute warning here at Mosaic. The Alouettes in the lead and threatening.
We mentioned some rule changes in the Canadian Football League. Here are the changes going into 2010. No pass interference penalty on a forward pass if it's deemed uncatchable. That was the question on the Jamel Richardson play a moment ago. Giving up a field goal, you can now have the option to take the ball on the 35-yard. Then that was changed last year, changed back this year. On punts now, it'll be a 5-yard penalty to touch the ground no matter who it touches. And the overtime rule has changed slightly.
1st and 10, Alouettes. No time for Calvillo, and he guns up to Jamel Richardson for another first down grab. What a great cup he had. But you could make a good argument Jamel Richardson was the Alouettes' best player in late November in Calgary.
The question in Saskatchewan, Chris, all offseason and in training camp, can that defensive line get pressure on the quarterback with no Stevie Baggs and no John Chick? And since the first couple of series, Anthony Calvillo has lots of time to throw those intermediate and deep rights.
This drive started at the Alouette 47-yard line. Back in the hands of Coburn. Little hurdle there over Carnegie. And Simpson, the new middle linebacker, takes him out, and there is a marker. Flag on the play.
Major foul, face mask. Saskatchewan number 1, half the distance to the goal, out of first down.
Omar Morgan, the guilty party.
Boy, when defensively you put everybody on the line of scrimmage, you absolutely have to have containment, because here they are, no linebackers back here to scrape into holes. So if you don't have that second level, the guy on the outside has got to contain the play. And Tad Cornegay, who was shaken up earlier, was not able to do it. Darren Simpson actually got the face mask.
Infraction, 1st and goal from the 3. Coburn runs into a wall there. The second push. Maybe a yard for Avon Coburn.
One of the changes, and there's been a few of them for the Alouettes on that offensive line, is at center, and this is a big one for a couple of reasons. Paul Lambert moves and takes over for Brian Chu, perennial all-star, outstanding lineman in 2002. He is now gone. Lambert's in his 10th year. First couple of years in Hamilton, he did play center, so he feels comfortable in there, but he has to make the calls, and look at him trying to call the defense now.
Chucky Adams and the Rider dig in, 2nd and goal to the 2. They go up top, fade for S.J. Green. Incomplete, tight coverage there from Donovan Alexander.
And this time, Donovan Alexander, he's been victimized a couple of times by peeking back into the backfield. He's looking at Anthony Calvillo, got caught on that wide side in the Kerry Watkins early touchdown. He got caught on the double move from Watkins for another touchdown. This time, he stays with his receiver locked in.
Just felt like the Rough Riders needed to stop there. And Duval has to come out. Record 55 field goals last year. And also a new high standard for CFL points with 242 in 09. And that short field goal makes makes it a 2-touchdown lead for the Alouettes with less than 2 remaining in the first half.
You know, it's been a tough first half for Donovan Alexander, but let's show a good play for the Rider corner. There he is right there, and watch where his eyes now. They're right here on his intended target. He doesn't peek back in the backfield, and that's what's got him in trouble early. This time he'll lose him, and then he'll come back. Look at the position he has. Inside shoulder, making it impossible to go across his body and come back to that football. So starting to rebound from a tough first half is Donovan Alexander.
Winnipeg native who made a play on the 2-point convert in the Grey Cup game that Alouette fans thought was pass interference. It was not called.
Most important attribute a defensive back can have is a short memory.
We've got a big minute 45 to go here. Roughriders have an opportunity to cut into this lead and maybe change the momentum.
And they brought this guy in, this returner, for that reason. They brought in Dominic Dorsey to try and get plays like this. If they can get some field position, there's lots of time to put some points on the board here and get some momentum back.
Be a good time for Dorsey to flip the field if the ball gets to him. Bouncer Neil Hughes, one of the up men, takes it. The Regina product. At the 45, decent field position. 100 seconds to go. The big boys are here today. Schultze, Jock, Matt, and Dave Randorf are in the house and getting ready to give you their impressions of this first half. I think there's a fine for being on your BlackBerry during the game.
You know, you can talk to each other. You don't have to message when you're sitting right beside each other.
See if Durant can close the gap. Steps up, takes off, hits the deck at the 50.
This is another area that the officials are going to crack down on when a quarterback hook slides feet first or a receiver gives himself up in the open field because he's fallen down with the ball. They're going to make sure they monitor closely if there's any time between when that defensive player comes up and makes a hit. They want to try to protect the player that's down on the field. And Darien Durant on that last play thought that he could have drawn a flag. Didn't get one.
6 yards for Durant. It'll be 2nd and 4. He bulked up during the offseason, said he was pretty beaten up at the end of last year. Wanted to be more durable.
He has a strong lower half, and now he's just added to that up in his upper body as well. But how many times have we seen defensive linemen sort of fall off of his hips?
Reset the 20-second clock.
We want to reset the 20-second clock. That's why we have a delay here. He also said wanted a little more upper body strength to have a little bit more zip on the ball in the Saskatchewan wind. 2nd and 4. Quarterback draw again. And he's got the first down at midfield. Well, depending on the spot, and looks like it's a generous one and a first down Saskatchewan.
Called and designed play for Darien Durant. 2nd and medium. He's just going to try and read his center and 2 guards, and one of those guards is Gene Mikowski in his 16th season. He makes a nice block to open up enough of a hole.
The veteran offensive line that's had its hands full with Montreal's front so far today. 1st and 10. This time he does throw, and Dressler pulls it down. Weston Dressler showing his sure hands.
Dressler is the slot back, and he's going to have to stab this football. Inside receiver, 3 receivers on the short side of the field as the Riders try and cloud it up there. Now watch, he's in that soft spot, but he has to stab the ball there because the Alouettes are closing in a hurry.
22 for Dressler, who's been the best weapon so far today. First down, pressure, dumped off. And the screen pass for Cates falls incomplete.
It's a couple of times now Jermaine McElveen has been inside, and this is a question. Could he step up and fill the shoes of Karan Williams in the interior of that defensive line? He's got a fumble recovery in this first half and has put some pressure on Darien Durant, and he was right in his face on that last play.
Came into this Alouette lineup in 2008 with 6 sacks in the second half of the season. 2nd and 10. 4 receivers to the wide side. Short drop. Pass complete. Pass dropped. And it's picked up by Matthew Bloom. And the Alouette safety's got the ball up around the 50-yard line. Kerry Rodriguez with his first catch as a Rough Rider, and one he'll want to forget.
Kerry Rodriguez is the wide side, and he's a guy that Darien Durant was looking forward to utilize down near the goal line area a bunch this year, and I'm sure they will. But he makes the catch there. He never really secures it and protects the ball.
And Deandre Dix knocked it loose.
What big size difference there. Outside, you can see him plainly to the right there, a little out route timing. Now he has it, but he never secures it. He never locks it away, and Dix is able to punch it out right there.
7-inch height advantage over the corner, and the Riders thought they might be able to exploit that today. Calvillo puts this one up, looking for Richardson, and he recovered to catch the ball in front of Alexander. The former Rough Rider makes another play, and Donovan Alexander gets burned.
Yeah, now it's official. And now it's official. Scott Milanovich's game plan, if they are going to push the ball deep, is to try and attack the wide side of the field where Donovan Alexander plays, because this is now 3-4 times that they have gone right after him. 2 touchdowns now, 1 big catch there.
So they continue to work the young corner. And what a flip here when it looked like the Riders had a chance to get some late first half points. They turn it over, and now Montreal in scoring position.
Flips over to the wide side of the field. Now 2nd and medium opens up the playbook here, or 2nd and short, I should say, for Anthony Calvillo. He can go to the run, and he really can keep this defense guessing. Donovan Alexander has to go in at halftime and try and regroup and understand that Anthony Calvillo is going after the corner.
Virtually perfect. If you joined us late, the interception was bobbled by the receiver. And that pass was the worst one we've seen from him today, skipping short of Kerry Watkins. And just by the Calvillo gesture, he thought Watkins was going to shorten that route.
Decision time here. It's kick the field goal.
3rd and at least 2. Looks like the offense is going to stay out there.
Wow.
How about this?
Interesting.
Remember, Ken Miller opted late in the first half of the Grey Cup for 3 instead of 7 on the goal line. A little more killer instinct from Montreal. And Calvillo is going to get sacked. He lost his footing, and they lose a chance to add to their lead.
Art Trestman has proven quickly that he is one of the great coaches in this league right now, without question. 2 times in 2 years in the Grey Cup championship and won it last year. I'm not sure this is a great decision, and it's easy to second guess when it doesn't work, but even if Calvillo throws a touchdown pass here, that is a huge gamble. A chance to add 3 to the board, a chip shot from that distance, and it was a long 3 yards for Calvillo, so he had to throw.
Could have been a 3-score lead here in the first half. 5 seconds left. They'll run it out, and that's about all that has not gone right for the Alouettes since Calvillo's opening pass of the game.
And you can say you have confidence in your offense and you want to put that dagger into the Saskatchewan defense with a touchdown throw there, but what can happen in a half of football?
Riders kill the clock. Durant puts a knee down, and that'll do it for 30 minutes of football. An impressive first half for the 3-time outstanding player in the league. 24-10, Rona Canada Day kickoff. Welcome to the Rona Canada Day kickoff from Mosaic Stadium. We're headed to the second half. Alouettes with a 2-touchdown lead, and Sarah Orlesky's with Rider coach Ken Miller.
Coach, the Alouettes gained momentum in that first half. How is it that you stop a quarterback like Anthony Calvillo when he gets so hot?
Well, the thing we have to do is we have to get some more pressure on him, and then we have to have tighter coverage on the receivers. We just have to do a better job there.
What was your message to the team in the half?
Well, the thing I told him was that we're down 14. We're going to come back. We're going to play well, one play at a time. We're going to win it at the end.
Thanks so much for this.
Thank you.
Well, if you're going to exercise the ghost of last November, remember Anthony Calvillo came down back from a 2-touchdown deficit at the half in the Grey Cup game when the Roughriders loved to turn the tables and do the same here.
Chris Schultz nailed it at halftime, talking about the passing games. First of all, Donovan Alexander's got to play better coverage on the wide side of the field for the Riders in the secondary, and they have to get more pressure on Anthony Calvillo.
Riders get the football first, second half, as Dorsey awaits. The kickoff from Duval, and Saskatchewan will have that breeze at their back. In the third quarter, Stu Ford takes the play, but he's surrounded early and is dropped at the 29-yard line. There's Walter Spencer down quickly again.
Take a look at the quarterbacks and what they did in the first half of play. Darien Durant got off to a good start. Nice little drive to start the game. Ended in a field goal, though. He was 10 of 16. But you can see after the first two drives, Anthony Calvillo turned it on. 228. 3 touchdown passes for AC.
Not much, just across the 30, and there's McIlvain again.
And there's no need for the new offensive coordinator for Saskatchewan, Doug Barry, to deviate from the game plan too radically just yet. I mean, there's lots of football to be played, a whole half, but he's got to get some better protection up front from his offensive line. His running game has been fairly solid, was in that first half. Now they got to stay with their game plan and see if they can chip their way back in it.
Second and long, Durant looking for the bag, and he missed him by a stride or two as Begg was in behind Stanford Samuels.
You know, there's been a couple like this where Darien Durant is just starting to work himself back into the way he finished last season in his throwing motion, and he's missed a couple of receivers by about a yard or two. And had the chance for a big play for the Riders because he was in behind coverage. Brought back from injury.
So Louis Sakota to kick the ball away. That'll drive Maypray over his head. Bouncing down at the 15. And Daniel Francis will bring him down quickly. So a good boot by Sakota, 64 yards. Well, the 10th Field Regiment, Regina Yorkton, marks Canada Day annually with a ceremony at the legislature, and I see they had 2 new honorary members.
Yes, I really want to thank the 10th Field Regiment honorary members, our director Paul Hemming and I, for the work that we do at TSN, and everyone here at TSN does to salute our troops in the Canadian Forces.
First down catch for Jamel Richardson. I was wondering why I smelled gunpowder.
Well, it was quite a ceremony today for Canada Day, and quite emotional, actually, because more than anything, it gives us a chance to once again announce that in 2010, every Friday night, we will be saluting our men and women in the Canadian Forces. And about a little over half of the soldiers that you saw in that last shot have been deployed and have been in Afghanistan for a tour of duty.
14 yards for Richardson, a first down, and back into the hands of Kerry Watkins.
And they are our true heroes and our true Team Canada, the men and women of the Canadian Forces. So every Friday night, like we've done for the last few years, we will have a picture of one of the soldiers that are serving in Afghanistan or a unit. Say hello to them. And again, want to thank all of the soldiers for everything they do to protect our way of life and to protect and improve the way of life of people on the other side of the world that they don't even know.
Calvillo looked one way and then just dumps it off, and Coburn. Pretty good collision there with the new middle linebacker, Baron Simpson, replacing Ray Williams, who last year was a force in the Grey Cup, now in Pittsburgh Steeler camp.
And Baron Simpson is comfortable with Gary Echeverry's defense, and because when he went back to his early days in the BC Lions, Echeverry was there, so he stepped in and felt real comfortable, able to call the plays in the huddle. Gary Echeverry will call from the sideline, and then Baron Simpson, the veteran, will make the calls out there for the defense and the checks if anything changes just before the ball snaps.
And is it enough? Maybe a link of the chain. Baron Simpson in his 10th CFL year. He's 32 years of age and a 6-time CFL All-Star, but still looking for his first Grey Cup title.
He was moved out of BC back in 05, and since 05 has simply registered 334 tackles in the Canadian Football League since leaving the BC Lions. 84 last year in limited playing time. Didn't play the entire season.
Yeah, 13 games for Simpson a year ago. Third different middle linebacker in 3 years for the Riders, who had Williams last year, Molo the year before. Third in that chain left to go. Ricky Santos will move the chains. Brent Hawkins comes up pushing with Coburn. But the jury very much out on whether the Roughriders are going to be able to replace the dynamic duo defensive ends of a year ago, Chick and Bags.
Yeah, and Brent Hawkins, one of the guys, was frustrated. He's starting to show a little frustration because when Anthony Calvillo is on time and has the open receivers that he's had, that D-line just doesn't have a chance to get there. It's 1, 2, 3 steamboats and away it goes.
Ball nosing midfield. First down, Alouettes. Calvillo rolls. Cahoon caught it behind him and brings it in for a first down. Ben Cahoon led the league in receiving last year with 89 catches. And he told me yesterday, Glenn, that for 10 games he was on the limp, didn't feel good, and one of the reasons he decided to come back, he felt that if he could get through a season and be that successful when he didn't feel good, that he probably still had it, even coming up to his 38th birthday later this month. First down, back in the hands of 86. This time cut down by Alexander, who moves up and makes a good defensive play.
Well, every year for the last few years, Anthony Calvillo and Ben Cahoon, and often other teammates, it changes all the time, but it was always those two in March will go golfing together on a trip, and it's a road trip going to Phoenix or something like that, golf destination. And one call from Anthony Calvillo to Ben Cahoon right after the season when he had decided he was coming back and felt great. He said, "Are you coming back?" "Because I am." Cahoon was, "Yeah," and then they confirmed that at the golf tournament, and they're both back together.
This drive started at the Alouette 27. Coburn bounced off a big hit. Ball comes loose, and a battle for it. Keith Shulligan in there. But the initial hit from Omar Morgan.
Yeah, and Baron Simpson, I believe, was in the middle of it as well, Chris. They met, Omar Morgan and Simpson. It was a 1-2 combination. Literally, there's Baron Simpson there. Omar Morgan to the right of your screen, and they're going to meet at Avon Coburn. And a big stick right in the hole.
Josh Burke pouncing on the football. The left tackle of the Alouettes to save the possession.
Jamel Richardson's hit on Tad Cornegay looked flashy. That one was tough. That one hurt more.
Duval from 46 yards out. Cahoon the holder. And that one was slicing wide, and it's going to be brought out by Dorsey. And look at Coburn downfield. What a play by Dominic Dorsey. By Coburn. Dorsey had the green light, but he got stopped in his tracks. Our sack tally is brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check. And there's how it ended last year. The Roughriders with 39, 23 of them from Stevie Baggs and John Chick.
Who makes up that distance?
Of course, Chris Schultz does a great job of fronting that terrific program. Deepest start of the game for the Roughriders. Some early movement, and this play doesn't get off.
Usually there's a lot more of this. You see 3 or 4 offsides in the first couple of games of the season, especially with only 2 preseason games.
Procedure. Saskatchewan, number 64. Half the distance to the goal, remains first down.
But
Timer, hold the clock to the snap.
This compounds what just happened with the return from Dominic Dorsey that was cut off by Avon Coburn. Now the penalty. And the Riders in the shadow of their own goalpost.
The all-star right tackle, Dan Goodspeed, acquired from Hamilton. And Durant just gets out of the red zone. That was in a dangerous area, and he avoids the sack.
I want to show you, people always are looking at this Montreal Alouette team and saying, why is this team as good as it is? This team is as good as it is because the Grey Cup outstanding player, Avon Coburn, who is their starting tailback, will do things like this on the special teams. Number 6 covers. He sees there's no contain man. Dominic Dorsey's going to take it out. He flashes to his left to cut him off, and that limits the gain. You come down that with the penalty, and look what's happening now.
That's 2nd and 16 from a Rough Rider 2. Durant. Anybody open? He's hit by Cox. And the ball falls incomplete. Chip Cox again in the face of Darien Durant.
And the Riders are looking at giving up 2 points to the safety at the very worst, and that could have been worse because Eric Wilson is trying to track that football down. Darien Durant, his issue here is that he's rolling to his left side, and when he's rolling to his left side, eventually he's got to get his body around to make the throw he wants to make and doesn't have time to do it because Chip Cox is closing in. Cox just has to be careful not to go to the head of the quarterback, but other than that, a clean hit.
Got a challenge from the Alouettes, who are going to ask if that was not an incompletion, but a fumble picked up in the end zone by Eric Wilson.
Whether or not his arm was going forward is the question.
And our first challenge of the new season has big implications.
Well, that is a lot closer than it looked live.
Yeah, I think that's a terrific challenge from the Montreal bench.
Absolutely. Because it looked like the ball came out of his hands just prior to the forward motion of Darien Durant's arm.
Montreal is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete forward pass.
Boy, that will be close. Now, the ruling was...
And there's big Eric Wilson getting on the football.
The ruling was incompletion, so we'll have to have enough evidence to overturn it, but that was 2 pretty good looks right there. But did that ball... His arm went forward with the ball flying through the air. The question is, did that ball come out just before Darien Durant's right arm started to move in a forward motion? Ball is out right now. Then the hand comes forward. It might not.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It's an incomplete forward pass. It'll be 3rd down.
So they are ruling that
it was just
Durant was starting the forward motion. That was close, and I think maybe the operative word is it had to be definitive.
Just barely. A few inches of forward motion. Saw it a little better from that angle.
Didn't take long, and quickly Sakota concedes the safety, and it's now a 16-point lead for the Alouettes. Well, the life of a logger is rough, and these guys are in it for the long haul. A whole new season of American Loggers continues Monday at 10 Eastern on Discovery Channel. Prefer Canadian lager on Canada Day myself. Now it's been a long afternoon for Darien Durant.
That was a close call. That was a close one. But, you know, you got to like the ruling in that it had to be, in order to be overturned, there had to be indisputable evidence, and there was. In other words, if that's ruled a fumble, it probably would have stood as well.
Sakota blasts it downfield. Maypray stumbles. Well, they don't get the field position you normally get out of a safety in the kickoff, thanks to the misplay by Maypray and a pretty good downfield hustle by Daniel Francis.
Yeah, and get the blooper tape ready. All right, this one's going to make it. This makes the Christmas party. But he does recover.
Excuse me, Glenn. One of the vets for the Alouettes yesterday said, you know, it's a tough spot for a rookie to be a return man in his first game of the CFL here at Mosaic with the wind and the crowd.
He's had a couple, though, where he's lined up a little shallow and then had to back up to try and get the ball. What he should do is get himself a little bit deeper so he's moving forward to catch that ball in flight.
Back to work, and there's a drop. Richardson, who dropped one into the hands of a defender on the first play of the game, has his second drop of the afternoon.
Yeah, second one, and for the record, so receivers in the league understand is that we will be tracking this year as a crew for more the quarterbacks stats than anything. Drops like that from receivers. So if you look at Anthony Calvillo's numbers tonight, he will have 2 of the incompletions that were drops.
Fans of Mosaic tell you this is a big defensive play for their team. And they don't get the play off.
Time count violation, Montreal number 13. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Chalk one up for the 13th man.
Visiting teams face that and have a procedure call or a time count at least once a game in this stadium. It is off the hook.
So now second and 15. Sean Lucas on the blitz. Underneath, incomplete. That's what the Roughriders needed.
Well, they got pressure, and the idea here now is if the Riders are looking to try and get more pressure, like Ken Miller mentioned, they're going to try and do it just to the right of your screen. You're going to see Sean Lucas, the linebacker, flash. There he is. They're going to start to send pressure there. Some linebackers up the middle. Brent Hawkins finally got some penetration. So it looks like the Riders are now trying to find the answer by sending some blitz pressure from the linebackers. But that was a big play. They should get very good field position here.
Calvillo has thrown back-to-back incompletions, and Duval gets up 2, and I think that surprises. Maybe they had figured they've got 2 in the bank, and it now is a 14-point game again.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what Mark Trestman thought. You know, the Riders just gave up a safety, got the field position back. He felt the momentum swing there with a defensive stand in the 2 and out. The returner slipping. Now you've got, let's stop it all. Get the field position, get our defense a second to regroup, kick off, and play from there. I like the decision because guaranteed he trusts his punt cover team and his kicker when he's standing right on the goal line. You need to be deeper than that to usually give up a safety. But this had everything to do with momentum.
Kicking the ball into the wind. Dorsey was awaiting at midfield, but Mark Trestman opts for the safety, and so it's 26-12.
Sure about that decision to not kick a field goal at the end of the half, but I really like that one.
So they will kick off from the 25.
They they've been kicking away from Dominic Dorsey. They try and stack to see if they can get the ball to Dorsey, the Riders, but Duvall's done a nice job of watching it and going the opposite way.
From the 25, they may have to let this one fly. And that's not a deep kick. Gets up for grabs, and it's out of bounds at the Rider bench. Kick was out of bounds, and Saskatchewan will enjoy good field position just beyond their 45.
That was close, and the Riders trying to get up there underneath that one because that was a live ball. On kickoff, it has to pass that 10-yard mark, and then it is live. Looked like Shea Emery was very close, as was Chip Cox.
Illegal kickoff. Number 15, Montreal. That penalty is declined. First down, Saskatchewan.
So the ball marked close to the Saskatchewan 50-yard line.
I think Damon Duvall just hit that. He's trying to kick it away from Dorsey. It looked like he was just not lined up properly to kick that one deep.
Gates. And a good run to midfield. And across, Diamond Ferry, the tackle.
And that Mark Trestman decision, Chris, you can consider what has happened and transpired since then. It really is a difference of about 30, 35 yards of field position and where the Riders are starting this drive. So he's given his defense a chance and given the Riders back that 2 points that they gave up on their safety.
Wes Cates, 7 carries, 66 in the game. 2nd and 5. 6 receivers out. Durant has one bag, first down. Slants down to the 36.
I'm wondering when Saskatchewan was going to try and go out and test Stanford Samuels at the wide side corner position, a newcomer to the Alouette secondary. And this time he's lined up over Rob Bagg, and they do go after him a little bit. He gets a little deep, falls off the receiver. That creates some space.
Got behind him once earlier with the overthrow from Durant. 19 on the play. First down. Look out! That was almost picked as Billy Parker was in the vicinity.
Well, Billy Parker had his eyes on that goal line. These two halfbacks really, from last year, stepped up their game, and watch the read here as Parker just sits back, plants, and steps up. And he is a half a stride away from seeing the Billy Parker touchdown dance.
Both had interceptions, Brown and Parker, last year in the Grey Cup game. Ben Cahoon said that was the biggest upgrade on our team a year ago. Blitz, Durant got it away, and it's knocked down. Getzlaff was well covered by Chip Cox. And just to finish the thought on Cahoon, he also said the 2 rookie DBs last year and Chip Cox moving to the linebacker spot.
And this is what Chip Cox can do, because as long as they were sure, you see that Durant's got to step up. He gets pressure from Shea Emery off the edge, so that turns the timing into advantage defense. Now Chip Cox, he can come out there and cover. He's a former defensive back, converted last year. Their question was, could he play the run? He showed he could do that, and now what a weapon they have on defense.
Look, Kanji checks in, and he'll survey a 43-yarder. And Kanji has missed. And Maypre's going to bring it out. Tim Maypre. Look out! Kanji going to catch him? No! He's a rookie. He made a mistake just a few moments ago. But Tim Maypre has gone all the way for an Alouette touchdown.
Maypre.
122 yards. Maybe not a bad idea to break the rookie in here.
Yeah, and he's going to take some flack for one return in the meeting room. And then he'll say, just wait, fellas, because there's another one coming out. And look at the seam that opens up for him down that sideline. And as he gets that seam now, he's trying to find the kicker in Luka Kanji. Where is he? There he is. Cut inside of him right there. Now it's a foot race, and see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
122-yard missed field goal return for a touchdown, and suddenly the absence of Larry Taylor doesn't hurt as much.
122. But what I love about it is that in the film room, he's going to be sitting there, and the guys are going to have a good laugh. And he's going to have the last laugh. He's going to know, hey, just wait a couple plays. Give me a couple plays. Watch this one.
3-touchdown lead for the Jets.
Every day.
In order to get a seam like that, you need a couple of blocks. I want to show you one here from Diamond Ferry, the Montreal Alouettes linebacker on the special teams on Mike McCullough. There's the kick-out block. Now, he's created a little bit of seam down the sideline. One more guy maybe has a chance. Keith Shulligan right here. Can he come across and cut him off? Well, Stanford Samuels, the corner on the special teams, doesn't have to get much of them, just in his way. And that opens up the running line.
10-point swing. A missed field goal for Saskatchewan, a touchdown, and Stu Ford trying to reply. The local product, here's the Stews as he brings it up to the 48. Larry Taylor had 3 kick return touchdowns a year ago, and here in the CFL debut of Tim Mapray, he celebrates his first.
That's where the Riders will start, first and 10.
Well, he's on a little bit of a roller coaster of emotion. Mapray, when he fell on the first kick a couple plays earlier, and then took 122.
He was recommended to the Alouettes by his college coach, Winston October, who took a few back himself. Riders back to work. Going to cut into this lead. Underneath, Dressler can run a while. And Samuels able to angle him out at the 41.
You know, one thing that the Montreal secondary now is going to back up a little bit more, give a little bit more room to the receiving core so that Darien Durant doesn't have a chance to make a big play and one throw down the field, get 7. So they're going to make Saskatchewan now chip away at these underneath type of throws, but Dressler gets good yak yards.
Well, the good news for the Riders is that Weston Dressler is back. He has been their sole weapon here tonight. Here's the toss to Cates, and look at Chip Cox. Boy, he's having himself a game. Let's join Sarah Orleski.
Chris, it's Canada Day, so why not talk to a couple of very well-known Canadians. Scott Niedermayer and Ryan Getzlaf, 2 members of our Canadian Olympic gold medal men's hockey team. Scott, we'll start with you. You're an honorary Saskatchewan today. What has the reaction been like just since the Olympics, going around with the gold medal from the Canadian fans?
Well, it's definitely been fun to be back. I've been back now about 5 or 6 days. Have the medal in tow with me to show a lot of family and friends as I'm touring around, visiting everybody, and it's been a blast.
Ryan, you're from Regina, and your brother Chris Getzlaf plays on this team. It's been a rough start for the Riders so far, but I'm guessing you don't get to see many of Chris's games.
Yeah, I don't. As much as I can on TV, and it's nice to be here for one, and we just got a touchdown, so we're excited.
See, maybe we should talk to you more often. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Sarah. That is Preche. Big play. Rodriguez with his first Saskatchewan Roughrider touchdown.
Well, I certainly want to congratulate Team Canada, both men's and women's. What a great Olympics it was. Let's get to this play, then we'll get back to the hockey. But what a play by Rodriguez. And first of all, Getzlaf's watching his brother doing the interview, and he notices out of the corner of the eye that Darien Durant's going to step up, buy himself a little bit of time. Right there, shifts to his right, and then notices Preche Rodriguez wide open on the sideline. Awful tough to cover that long. And Rodriguez finds the end zone.
Down to the extra point. That gets it back to a 2-touchdown game after a 43-yard touchdown catch by Preche Rodriguez.
Hamilton Tiger Cat, good year a couple of years ago. His numbers dropped this year. Now he's just reacting to Darien Durant. His route is an out, a quick out there, but he sees Durant scrambling around, stepping up in the pocket, moving to buy some time. So if you have an intermediate or short route as a receiver and your quarterback scrambles, you go deep. That's what Preche Rodriguez did and was wide open.
Runner-up to Weston Dressler for Rookie of the Year 2 seasons ago when he had over 1,000 yards. Injury-plagued 09, and boy, the Roughriders want to see the 08 version of Big Play Rodriguez.
shake. Way to get a first.
And I know that Ryan Getzlaf is pumped to see his brother's team start to fight their way back into it. And hey, congratulations. What a great Olympics it was, Chris. And a good call, partner. But now I got to take you back from hockey, back to football now. But a good call in the gold medal game. Sidney Crosby's golden goal.
Thrill for everybody.
Loved it.
Thank you. And Ryan celebrating with his fiancée. They'll be married in August.
I think I've ever felt more patriotic than those 2 weeks.
Tim Maypierre wants an encore performance. Darrell Freeman there along with Stu Ford to bring him down at the 32. This game is still on here. Less than 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Feels like the Alouettes or should have locked this one away by now, but Saskatchewan's hanging around. That was a big touchdown for Rodriguez. And Bratton has a first down to the 44-yard line. The safety, James Patrick, takes him down.
You got to know that one thing that Anthony Calvillo understands is that he doesn't even necessarily have to come back and match that score from Preche Rodriguez. All he really needs to do here is put together 3 or 4 first downs and try and take a little of that momentum back, get some field position back, and maybe most importantly, take the crowd out of it if he can. Because here comes the volume.
Stutter step trying to find a hole, and he's Shulligan with the tackle. The Alberta product.
Well, they're solid on defense in there. I mean, Keith Shulligan proved last year that he's certainly more than capable. And Marcus Adams in his 8th season, so veterans inside.
Just haven't called the names of the outside guys much.
No, and that's the question.
Second and 6. It's time, and that one through the hands of Cahoon, which you don't see often.
Catchable ball, but I don't think that Ben Cahoon was going to get first down territory unless he came up with a real miraculous type of move on Sean Lucas. Sean Lucas had a good close on him. And what the Riders do here is they decide to go with 3-man pressure and just zone it off rather than get a man-to-man matchup, which they've had trouble with, especially in the wide side corner. You see the angle from Lucas. I don't think that Ben Cahoon gets a first down, even if he does catch it.
Val just got it away. There's Dorsey and number 11 downfield again. Chip Cox, defense and special team demon. Well, the NASCAR Sprint Cup action continues on TSN this Saturday with the Coke 0400 live from the Daytona International Speedway. Coverage beginning at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific.
It's a shot of the ledge back there and behind Wascana Lake. And the one time that rivaled the feeling of patriotism that I had in the Olympics was this afternoon with the 10-field regiment.
Bunch formation to the near side. Final minute, third quarter. Durant steps up, look downfield, Rob Bagg in stride, and Rob Bagg is going to score. And now it is game on.
This team will battle.
The Canadian Air Force just took flight, 87 yards. Durant to Bagg.
2 or 3 series ago, Darien Durant missed Rob Bagg on the exact same play by about 1.5 yards. He steps up in the pocket here, but has his eyes downfield, and he drops one right in the bucket. And watch the speed of Rob Bagg. I guarantee you there are DBs across this country that will underestimate the speed from the wide receiver from Queens.
Broken collarbone in the Grey Cup game. extra point, and just like that, it's a one-touchdown Alouette lead.
Well, this is a play that you know the Riders have seen and wanted to go back to. Rob Baggs the wideout, and what he's going to do is run a post pattern here. And watch as he comes out of the post. He's going to run on Stanford Samuels, who's playing way outside position on his outside shoulder. I believe that Samuels must have thought he had help there at the deep spot in the halfback from Billy Parker. Parker gets his feet stuck. Samuels is on the outside, and goodbye. Rob Bagg is gone.
Over 800 yards last year, and no play bigger than that last season. 87 yards, and suddenly Saskatchewan's back in it. They had to grind today to get back in it. And now with a big play, they are within a touchdown.
And the field goal before the half that wasn't taken by the Alouettes looms large right now if they can get a stop. Third quarter to play.
First the 43-yarder to Rodriguez, now the 87-yarder as Durant bounces back, and let's see what the Alouettes have. Brian Bratton met at the 30. Freeman there. And so was the veteran Baron Simpson.
You know, and early in the season, I'm not surprised with these two coaching staffs, but often you see early in the year, especially with two preseason games, more procedure calls and offensive timing that is off. But these are two very well-coached football teams. Mark Trestman and his staff on one side, Ken Miller, they met in the Grey Cup. That's not, hey, that wasn't a surprise. Well-coached teams with great talent. That's why they were there last year. That's why we're seeing a crisp game played here today.
You can hear that the Roughriders are back in this game. The fans of Mosaic since a comeback. We're through 3 quarters, and just a touchdown separates them. Third quarter stats are brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
Chris Schultz talked about it at halftime that the Saskatchewan Roughriders, to get back in this game, are going to have to throw the ball better. They had 110 yards passing in the first half and now have 279. So they threw for more yards in the third quarter than they did in 2 quarters in the first half.
Riding the big play in that third quarter, a 43-yarder, an 87-yarder, and got ourselves a football game.
Well, we certainly do, and with the Riders, the word resilient comes in, because after the big return by the Alouettes, you think that that's probably a chance to sort of fold your tents and say, okay, this is a good team. We didn't get it done, but they're fighting back.
Montreal's got the wind in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 7. Blitz. Calvillo down. Lance Fraser off the edge.
And he comes from a long way away to not tip his hand to Anthony Calvillo. Lance Fraser is going to come from way back in the secondary. In fact, you can't see him. He's coming from over here. Anthony Calvillo in the shotgun. It's a couple of steamboats, but great speed. Calvillo tries to step up and avoid him, but Fraser gets just enough, and the Owls have to kick again.
Damon Duval fighting the sun here. And a snap, but he fielded on the bounce. Dorsey. Penalty marker. Dorsey down at the 43. Again, Walter Spencer and Diamond Ferry downfield in a hurry, and they've limited Dominique Dorsey's return yardage today.
I think this will be an illegal block. It'll push it back, and the Alouettes more out of this punt. You know, about 4 or 5 series ago, I was talking about how with the lead, Montreal is going to back up a little bit, not give up big plays.
Saskatchewan number 25 on the return. 10-yard penalty, first down.
LaRon Mitchell called.
Because that's usually how the mindset goes for a defense. You say, okay, let's just not give up a big play where the quarterback throws it and they score in one throw. Well, appreciate Rodriguez, beat him on the outside. Got a little too tight there, and then Rob Bagg right here. in behind. So in 2 plays, the Riders right back in this football game. And the secondary has been caught a couple times for Montreal.
Play action fake. Durant rolling and takes off. And Durant with a nice move to avoid contact and get the first down. Right now, the difference in the football game, the 122-yard missed field goal return for Tim Mabray.
Durant on those big plays has stepped up in the pocket to throw. This time they're going to do play action and get him out on the edge to keep that defensive line for the Montreal Alouettes guessing. Is he going to step up and try and avoid us there, or is he going to get out to the outside?
52 yards rushing for Durant the game at the 42. Down, and Anwar Stewart, who had an interception against the Roughriders last year, almost had one in week 1.
Anwar Stewart has 9 career interceptions as a defensive lineman, and he scored some touchdowns off it as well. And he gets cut blocked there, and only because he had a lineman on his knees did he not intercept his 10th in his career.
3 interception touchdown returns for Stewart. 2nd and 10. Durant over the middle, and he's got Fantus. Andy Fantus has been relatively quiet in the season opener. That's a big first down catch of 14.
Canada Day. Grey Cup rematch. 2 well-coached teams. The Owls had flipped the table on the Saskatchewan Roughriders from the Grey Cup and had that 14-point halftime lead. But the Riders are rolling now.
Ken Miller fills Fantus. Can get up to around 1,500 yards receiving this year. Got another here. And he should be close to another first down.
I liked about what he did here. Andy Fantus recognized the situation in a hurry, and rather than turn around, try to make some moves and get outside and try and make a huge play out of it, he just grabbed as many yards as he could quickly, lowered his shoulder, caught it, headed straight upfield, and moved the chain, or at least he got close.
So Bag with the 87-yard touchdown catch. Now Fantus getting involved more. It's starting to look a little bit more like 2009. Second down. Cates breaks a tackle, has a first down, and is dropped by the Simpson. You prove. But the Roughriders now have a first down at the Alouette 30, threatening to tie this game.
Yeah, they are the true sense of the word when you talk about the fans here at Mosaic, because when this team was down by 14, they came out, the fans, in the second half and really got behind their football team, and they've rallied behind the fans. After that big return, the Riders could have folded the tent, but they're breaking tackles and moving the football.
Started at the 29. This is the 6th play of the drive. Cates again. Big hole. Wes Cates to the 10. Cruz saves a touchdown.
Run this play a couple of times when Weston Dressler comes across the formation and takes the football from Durant and takes it wide. Well, this is a progression of that play with Dressler right here coming across in this direction, but doesn't get the ball. It's a fake to him, and underneath going the opposite way is Wes Cates. Little misdirection confuses the Owls defense.
A 100-yard rushing day for Wes Cates after that 21-yard romp. First down, Cates, touchdown! Three consecutive second-half touchdowns. They're a point away from tying the game.
Gene Makowski's going to make the key block for Wes Cates as he gets the big pads up there, and look at the hole that he opens up for number 20.
Old Faithful in his 16th year, 37-year-old Gene Makowski opening the road up.
It is something else in this park.
This game is tied. You're watching the Rona Canada Day kickoff. Wendy's Friday Night Football returns tomorrow night. The Hamilton Tiger Cats take on the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg. Live coverage begins here on TSN, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. As we see Paul LaPolice in his debut. You brought your friends from Vancouver.
I sit right by that penalty box, but they look like they've multiplied. Isn't there only a couple in place? It's a little warm and muggy.
Yeah.
Mosaic, so the masks only come on at certain times.
Wes Cates just turned up the heat too, didn't he?
He really did. And what a block by Gene Mikowski.
Well, we mentioned at halftime, it was the Alouettes 7 months ago that erased a 14-point deficit. In fact, it was 16 in the second half. Rough Riders trying to turn the tables. May prey on the return. Up to the 30.
You know, things have changed in the second half for Darien Durant because he's using his legs. He got to the outside to start this drive, broke a tackle there, picked up a first down. Now he moves up the pocket slightly there, hits Baptiste on a couple. That time he got outside. Now with his movement, he's opening up some running lanes for Wes Cates, who's breaking his own tackles and getting into the secondary before he really is untouched. That's Matthew Prue a couple of times trying to get him down to the ground. Wes Cates is back.
3 straight touchdowns. Cates the third. The first by Rodriguez. Got the fans back in it. And they're in it now. Calvillo has Watkins in front of Alexander. And a big silencer by Anthony Calvillo.
Anthony Calvillo is going to that wide side where he had early success deep. Kerry Watkins got in behind Donovan Alexander a couple of times, so this is the result of that. Now, you can hit the intermediate ones, because you know one thing, Alexander's got to back up a few steps on that guy.
25 for Kerry Watkins. The clear is knocked down and almost picked off. Sean Lucas got his mitts up.
And when Ken Miller at halftime with Sarah talked about getting pressure on Anthony Calvillo, this is what he talked about. Right at the top left of your screen, you're going to see Sean Lucas coming off the edge. He's put some pressure on Anthony Calvillo, and he knocks that one down. It's almost intercepted, but the pressure has come from linebackers. That's how he's tried to change things up, and it's been working.
Was behind the intended target, and the Rough Rider defense forces the Alouettes to kick it away.
This time the Riders go with 3-man pressure and drop everybody else back into coverage. So when Calvillo looks up, he's got lots of time to throw. He finally gets to the outside, and on the run he puts that one not only with a lot of pepper on it, but behind Ben Cahoon. Tough catch to make.
Forces Dorsey to walk the tightrope. So we're tied with 9 minutes to go. You're watching the Rona Canada Day kickoff. While the opener full of intrigue now, with under 9 minutes to go. Saskatchewan the football, and Weston Dressler does hang on for a catch over the middle up at the 28-yard line. Glenn, this is the first of 14 games on the NFL Network this year. We're very pleased to present the games south of the border. I know the American players excited that their families have better access to the games, and folks watching down there, this is just another day at the office for us.
This is really usually how it happens right here.
A shootout at Mosaic. Second down. Durant to rock bag. He's got another first. Stepping in front of Stanford Samuels.
couple things that have made the difference for Durant. I mentioned him moving around in the pocket, stepping up, and buying himself some more time. He's done that well and done it with his eyes down the field. Made a couple of big plays to give himself and his offense some confidence. And it looks to me right now on the other side, the Owls defense is starting to fatigue. Hands on the hips is the sign, and missed tackles is the other.
Here comes pressure underneath Vantuz to catch at the line of scrimmage, and not much more with Shea Emery there to tag him. And John Bowman turning up the heat. A hot, muggy, early evening in Regina.
Yeah, and you can see John Bowman walking back to the huddle with his hands right on his hips, taking every second before he gets down in his three-point stance. Early in the year, got to get that game shape back.
2nd and 10. Pressure off the edge. Durant steps up, avoids it, and Rodriguez pumped out of bounds. That ball falls incomplete.
And Darien Durant was throwing that away. He didn't like what he saw. Pretty good coverage on the outside on Shea Rodriguez. And he doesn't need, at this point in the game, now that it's tied, to force something into a tight spot and get it intercepted at that point in the field. So a good decision by Darien Durant there.
Number one priority for Durant this year is to cut the interceptions down. He said 10 is the max, 21 a year ago. There's the rookie Maypray, who has dazzled with that big missed field goal return. And that ball will bounce out at the 39. Alouette football when we come back in a tie game. Well, a reminder that immediately following our game, we'll head to McMahon Stadium. There's Jermaine Copeland wearing new colors as a member of the Toronto Argonauts. He was looking forward to playing his old team in the season opener. We'll have it for you coming up after this one, which has a long way to go. 6:30 in a tie game. AC is looking downfield, and he's got Brian Bratton. And again, they go back to Donovan Alexander's side of the field.
And Donovan Alexander is fighting so hard to make sure he doesn't get beat deep and get any receiver in behind him again, that this is going to be what happens next, is that Calvillo will throw it to the back hip of his deep receiver, whether it be Kerry Watkins, in this case Brian Bratton, and let Bratton put the brakes on and come back to it.
34 yards to Brian Bratton, who's had a good day. Good catch. And here he comes around the edge. And Bratton brought down at the 25-yard line.
The Saskatchewan defense, this is where they really relied on Eddie Davis, the veteran defensive back in the secondary, to go out there and maybe calm Donovan Alexander down a bit. And Omar Morgan can't. And look at the confusion on the Saskatchewan defense. They're trying to get everybody lined up right.
So a good-looking drive for the Alouettes. Brian Bratton, a big part of it. Working their way into field goal range and thinking about more. First down at the Rough Rider 25. Calvillo under pressure, speeds away for 2 and gets 5 when it looked like there was nothing available.
Well, two things Montreal's doing. We know they're going to try and pick on Donovan Alexander outside, and the way they're trying to do that now is get Anthony Calvillo to get out here. Brian Bratton's gone to the wide side of the field. Kerry Watkins motions down inside. Now he gets him outside, so now it's not as far as the throw, but look at the coverage. This time up front, you got safety help from James Patrick, the safety, and that's why Alexander was okay on that play.
5 for AC, 2nd and 5. Rough Riders sending, but are picked up into the end zone for Jamal Richardson. Incomplete. Penalty marker down in a real battle at the end line between Chris McKenzie And Richardson and Omar Morgan trying to sell that was an uncatchable football.
Yeah, and that's what they're talking about, not whether or not contact was made, because clearly contact was made. But the question this year, and again, this is a change, but the question this year is, was it a catchable football?
Saskatchewan number 39 in goal. First down on the 1 yard line.
There's the man who replaces the veteran Eddie Davis, Chris McKenzie.
And this is when you need that leadership. Confusion on the last call. Now, was this catchable is the question. There's contact. So there's pass interference. Yeah, it hit his hands. Hit his hands at the end line.
Off his hands, and he is
no question
very
there.
much in.
No question there.
At least 1 foot down.
That's right. You only need one.
First and goal. Alouettes trying to regain the lead. Collapse here in the second half. Coburn touchdown. And Montreal gets it back. Avon Coburn into the end zone.
Calm, cool Anthony Calvillo after struggling in the third. And that offense really getting bogged down. Some linebacker pressure. He goes back to what worked in the first half, working the outside, and finishes it off with a touchdown run to Avon Coburn, the Grey Cup MVP.
So a costly pass interference penalty call. Coburn makes them pay. Alouettes scored over 40 points in their first 3 starts a year ago. And Duval makes it 40 in the season opener for 2010. And a touchdown lead for Anthony Calvillo and company with just under 3.5 minutes left.
Good example there, too, of the leadership in Montreal and maybe the void in leadership and the defense for the Saskatchewan Roughriders and how they lost a guy like Eddie Davis in that secondary. We saw a couple of plays before the interference. We saw some confusion in that defense. Calvillo calm and cool. Got a good drive together, finished it off on the right side of that offensive line. Opened up a nice hole for Avon Coburn.
71-yard drive. 4 plays in the penalty. And Avon calling for the go-ahead touchdown.
Hey, man. Chill, son. Look out for it. How you be?
They're not ready to celebrate yet, though.
Hey.
Quiet day for the Grey Cup MVP.
Yeah, not a real busy day, but early in that first half, Anthony Calvillo is going deep. Big plays to his wide receivers. Kerry Watkins, Brian Bratton's made a couple plays. Now, what do the Riders have?
Both quarterbacks over 300 yards in the game. Duval boots it deep and just inside the goal line. Dorsey hasn't exploded yet. Maybe here. Penalty marker down. As Dorsey is dropped at the 45 by the kicker Duval.
And this is a big penalty. I think it was Tamon George. Number 37.
Illegal block. Saskatchewan number 37 on a return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Regina product, Tamon George.
Number 37, and this is a big one because it takes a ton of field position away, but you can see right here as he gets the back, I believe it was Billy Parker who did a nice job to try and beat the block to get inside, and he hits him where the name tag is.
So the field gets longer, and Durant will start at his 18. Pressure coming. Throws it up for grabs. And Getzlaff's got it. Chris Getzlaff still going. And finally dragged down at the 35. A ball that looked like it was up for grabs turns into another big Rough Rider play. Ryan likes it. Chris has got him back into scoring position.
You're absolutely right, Chris. Darien Durant with a bit of a hope and a prayer here. Well-covered receiver, Chris Getzlaff, and I don't even know, one, how he saw him, but two, how he got the ball to him. That upper body strength Matt Dunnigan talked about, he worked in the offseason. And that paid off there as Getzlaf wins the jump ball on Emery.
And takes it 56 yards. So at the 35, first down, pressure on Durant. It's for Dressler. Off his fingertips, nearly a circus catch, and Dressler with a veteran push-off there to create some separation.
Yeah, he did, and Montreal confident in their secondary to play man-to-man defense in this situation. And you can see right there, Gerald Brown trying to fight through the traffic to get there, does regain position and just inches away for Weston Dressler.
Huge play upcoming. 2.5 to go, 2nd and 10. Enough time that if this is unsuccessful, you kick the field goal, or are they in 3-down territory now? Ken Miller may have a decision. Free play for Durant, who looks to the corner, and again, good coverage by Chip Cox. Chris Getzlaf thinks the coverage was too good.
Oh, what a play by Getzlaf to get into this position. Now, this is against Montreal, and it looked like they jumped. It puts Darien Durant in 2nd down again.
Offside, Montreal number 9. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
That's Anwar Stewart, number 9. He lines up down in that 3-point stance, the 2 feet and the hand on the ground, and let's see if he gets the jump. Well, at the top, Bowman, it was actually Diamond Ferry and John Bowman, I believe, that were the guilty parties.
So 2nd down over, 2nd and 5 from the 30. Durant leaves the pocket, throw back Cates. As Cates makes the man miss, and it is down at the 24-yard line, but that's a first down. Dix knocked him off stride, but enough to move the chains.
And a little more magic from the quarterback in his 2nd year as a starter in Saskatchewan. He continues to extend plays by moving around in this pocket. His mobility has been absolutely outstanding in this 2nd half. Watch how he steps up, sheds a block, breaks a tackle, gets to the outside, all the way back against the grain again to an open Wes Cates, who does what he had to do, and that's move the chains.
First catch of the game for Cates, who's been dangerous on the ground, over 100 yards. Back in his hands. And Cates broke a tackle or two before Shea Emery said enough of that.
Now that's a play I think Darien Durant would like to have had back and taken the ball out of the stomach of Wes Cates. That's that play where the quarterback is holding the ball in the stomach of the running back and making a decision based on what the defensive end does. So Darien Durant gave it to him, and it was clogged up.
Clock running, under 2 minutes to go, and now more into the time frame of 3-down football, isn't it?
Yeah.
2nd and 11. Durant on a roll. Anybody there? Look out. That ball incomplete. It was out of bounds as Deandre Dix, the closest man to it. And Ramon Guzman applying the pressure.
Darien Durant walked to the bench as if it was automatic that Ken Miller would kick a field goal, and now he's making his way back out there. You know, you're still down by 4 if you make it, so you need a bunch of big plays. If you kick the field goal, you need the onside kick, you need to get it back, you need to move it. This, you need one play to move the chains.
You need one play to get at least 11 yards. And they're going to talk about it a little longer, I think. See if a timeout's been called. Alouette coaches are on the field. Looks like
timeout, Montreal.
Yes, Montreal has called the timeout.
You know, I'm wondering if Mark Trestman looked at his defensive linemen and just thought they needed a rest. On a play that decides really the outcome of the game right here in 3rd and 10. He looked over there, not sure. He would like to have that timeout if the Riders score.
And the Riders would prefer to hold on to it in case, worst case scenario, they've still got a timeout to stop the clock with the Alouettes' possession if indeed they turn it over on downs.
But to make sure you have the right defense called and to make sure your players get a little bit of a rest. on the big play right here to determine the game. I think this is a good decision by Tressman.
Fans are anxious. 91 seconds on the clock. 3rd and 11. Over the middle, wide open. It's a first down. Andy Fantuz was all by himself.
We did have a lot of room. Darien Durant just couldn't wait to pull the trigger on that one when he saw how far off Billy Parker really was lined up. There's Fantuz in the slot back spot right on the hash mark. Now watch with the big push and then a little turn inside. Billy Parker way off him by 10 yards.
First and goal from the 8. The Skates to the 5. And War Stewart there to limit the damage.
Now, if I'm looking at the first down marker correctly, partner, they've got to score. There's no first down possible. 2nd and goal. You got to throw the football in this situation. Marcus Crandall looking at his play sheet along with Ken Miller. Unless you look at quarterback draw, which is a play the Saskatchewan Roughriders love down in this area with Darien Durant.
Second and goal from the 5. Durant takes a look. Fantuz. Does he have it? Yes. Was he in? No. It's going to be 3rd and 1. Fantuz says we need a challenge.
They want a challenge.
And the officials will have to. You can't call a challenge in the final minute. Did he have control to break the plane? Otherwise, it's 3rd and a long one.
And remember, the football has to cross the plane, not the player. The player in Fantuz could have his feet on the other side of the goal line, but that ball has got to cross the plane as well. So it'll be tough from that angle to be able to tell.
And did he bobble the football?
Well, it looks like he has.
He secured it. That ball did not bobble. This will tell us. And that looks like a touchdown.
But that, you're right, Chris, has to be reviewed by the upstairs supervising official. Ken Miller cannot throw his flag there. The ball has got to be.
The previous play is under review.
That's a touchdown because Andy Fantuz has sticky hands.
Well, you can see he's got possession there and the goal line not even in sight in your picture. Possession. That looks like a touchdown. I don't think there's any question.
I thought on first glance there was a bobble, but there wasn't. He was able to secure it. He ended up with it in one hand at the end of the play, but this game looks like it's a convert away from being tied with 42 seconds left.
Now, if it doesn't, they're 3rd down on the 1-yard line anyway.
And we'll need extra security.
How about this game on Canada Day?
Not a bad way to start
the 2010 season.
Not a bad kickoff. I don't know if many people felt with a 21-point lead early in the 3rd quarter we were going to see this kind of finish.
The replay challenge has been upheld. It is a touchdown.
You know what? There's another sport that we've enjoyed for a month that doesn't have video replay.
Yeah, they need to get
That's why it's good.
They need to get it. Because the correct call was made. Whether or not it went from Montreal or Saskatchewan isn't the issue. The issue is the right call was made because you can see as he has possession, Andy Fantuz coming back. Clearly, that football has crossed the plane. There it is there in his hands. He's got possession and another step before he even gets close to that goal line. So cut and dry, and the rule was made correctly.
So now they need the extra point to draw even again, and they do. This game is tied at 40 apiece.
You consider, Chris, how the Grey Cup ended. Right down to the last play. Now, the circumstances have changed in that it's the Riders coming back from behind and These two teams battled at the end of November. Well documented now. The field goal was missed. The Riders felt they had to win on the field, and then the penalty flag. Too many men.
We've played over 119 minutes between these two teams for the last two CFL games, and 1 point separated the two teams through all that time.
And Calvillo has time. This kickoff very important, and the possibility of a return. Remember, the Owls have one return already for a touchdown.
The Alouettes did burn their timeout. And the youngster may play. A good return, and then Neil Hughes sticks him. Tonight's game story is brought to you by Mr. Lube.
The newcomer, Tim Maypray, with a long touchdown. That gave the Montreal Alouettes a lead. Darien Durant has fought his way back in this one. 402 yards using his legs. Westcates is back, but Montreal has time. 35 seconds for the 17-year veteran, Anthony Calvillo, to move the football, and you got to believe he's going to go after Donovan Alexander on the outside.
They start at their 38. Underneath it goes. Coleman brought down at the 43. Tackle made by Chris McKenzie. Who was called on the pass interference.
Sorry, Chris. Damon Duval's
Alouettes have the wind.
Long kick a year ago, 53 yards. The Alouettes do have a slight breeze at their back. About 25, 30 yards to put them in range.
Again, the clock running without the timeout. Second down. Nobody open there. Calvillo's going to have a jump here. They go to Alexander's side again. And it's incomplete. Donovan Alexander fights off S.J. Green to make his most important defensive play of the day.
And fights off some demons that he has experienced throughout this game, because it has been a tough one for number 5. Beaten for touchdowns a couple of times. He's had his issues, and he was on that island again. Calvillo going after him with the deep ball. S.J. Green in the jump ball, and Donovan Alexander with his best coverage of the night.
First game of a brand new season, and apparently headed to overtime, barring something very unforeseen.
And remember, overtime has not changed except for you have to go if you score a major in overtime for a 2-point convert. No more single points after majors in overtime. Other than that, the format is the same, and looks like we're going to overtime.
Duval comes on.
He's just going to take it, run around, and get off this 3 seconds off the clock.
Burn 3 seconds and regroup for overtime in the season opener.
And now the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to call their timeout.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
Jim Daly, the new special teams coordinator out there, very animated at the moment. And he might be, because they've got too many men on the field.
Oh, you're kidding.
You know, they had 14 out there. And
now this is not, even if they got a penalty call here, that's not going to have the same kind of effect and outcome as it did in November. But wow. And Jim Daly was at the hash mark almost trying to call the timeout.
They have 12 to kick off in Calgary, less than a minute away. We'll stay with this one till it's decided and then go directly to McMahon. So Calvillo comes back on to chew up the final 3 seconds and take a shot or just throw it out. So 60 minutes of football. The game is tied at 40. 120 minutes between these two teams and 1 point separating them through all that time. So game 1 is our first overtime game of the year. Just to refresh your memory.
Yes, the rules are the same as last year with the exception of one. The teams will play a maximum of 2 mini games starting from the 35. The Roughriders they will have the ball first. The Alouettes won the toss and will play defense first. It was their decision. The difference being that if a team scores a major, they do not have the option to go for the extra point. They have to go for 2. And we're testing the new rule in game 1.
If you're a fan of the Stamps or the Argos, you can watch that game on TSN2. And here we go, overtime. And the Roughriders to work first. Screen Cates into traffic. And lost his helmet as Eric Wilson was in and around the football along with Diamond Ferry.
Yeah, Diamond Ferry really caused the problems because I believe Diamond Ferry had man-to-man coverage on the back. Wes Cates out of the backfield. So he just stuck with his man, wasn't influenced by Darien Durant, took his eyes, and you can see Diamond Ferry, number 40, just collapsed the pocket right there, and he got right underneath that pulling offensive lineman.
Roughriders beat BC in an overtime game last year, played to a tie in Calgary. Alouettes didn't play in overtime last year. Durant, Dressler, big catch inside the 15. Billy Parker the tackle, but Weston Dressler went up in traffic.
Yeah, the ball a little bit high, kind of got away on Darien Durant, sort of floated out of his hands, but Weston Dressler, who stands just 5'8", first of all gets inside position here on Billy Parker. Nice little move to be patient and watch him climb the ladder, pull that one down. He knew Matthew Prue was in the area.
Over 100 yards for Dressler, a 23-yard pickup there. Check that 21. Jason Claremont now into the game. First down. Claremont the catch. And big contact there at the 10. Gerald Brown there defensively.
Limited playing time in this game, but Ken Miller says throughout the season you'll see a lot more of Jason Claremont than you did a year ago. He gave Weston Dressler a break there after that long one, and he was the target. Number 82 in the back. In the back of that bunch formation, just over the middle.
Played hurt most of last year. A better camp for Jason Claremont. Expecting a better season. 2nd and 6. Durant. End zone, down, Andy Fantus.
The Canadian Air Force +7. Now the Riders will have to go for 2 points, and boy, were they good at that last year.
They were perfect. But that was last year. Boy, we've seen this play over and over again, haven't we? Durant, Fantus. And a touchdown to give Saskatchewan the lead for the first time since it was 3-0.
6 for 6 in 2-point converts a year ago. Now it's mandatory.
Well, this is an interesting set. Out of the eye, they scatter. For 2. And they might. Or do they? Chris Getzlaff, no. Ruled incomplete. It looked like Getzlaff had it. Durant's going to argue, and we may have that one reviewed.
Or will they look at it? He needs possession when he crosses the plane. Durant wants to argue that he had it for long enough.
I think they're conferencing now. It looked like he had it.
He's in there.
And he stripped there.
That's stripped.
That's 2.
That's a 2-point convert.
The ruling on the field is a convert. It's good.
just took them a second to huddle up, and what they did, and it's a good thing they did. Ryan thinks that they've ruled. No, they've changed it over, Ryan. It's okay. It counted.
He was still challenging.
Your bro got a 2-point convert. And a good one. And what I'm talking about here is you can see the official right at the goalpost was ducking to get out of the way and wasn't sure. So once they conferenced and they got all the opinions of all the refs, they made the correct call because Getzlaf was in. So now Montreal has to match or it's game over.
So now it's Anthony Calvillo against this Rough Rider defense and 30,000 strong.
This is why Montreal elected to play defense first. Now they know what they have to get. They have to get the major. They have to get the 2 points to extend the game. And they have to fight this crowd.
Well, now they're going to come over, and this may still be under review. Although after watching those replays, it looked clear-cut.
Okay, possession is gained there. The strip comes after a step right there. The question is, if you freeze it there and hold it, is that football across the goal line?
Ken Pico's upstairs, and he is taking another look,
and I think it's no question.
It looks decisive.
Really no issue.
The only thing that surprised me is Getzlaf's body language was as if he'd let one get away, but
he may not have known where he was on the field either.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
In other words, he didn't know if he was right across the goal line when that ball was stripped or not. So once they came back and huddled up, and the officials got it right once they huddled. Now Anthony Calvillo has to try and match. And does he come out here on Brian Bratton and Donovan Alexander?
Glenn, they'll never change what happened in late November, but who's for Riders if they can hold on? Calvillo one way, and that's broken up Sean Lucas. They tried to get Kerry Carter out of the backfield, and Lucas with the defensive play.
Yeah, you can't believe what's probably going through the minds right now of the Saskatchewan Roughriders after how it ended last year. Have to, for 6 straight months, answer those questions, and all they wanted to do, they'll never forget, you're right, it'll be with them forever, but all they wanted to do was take that first step forward. A win here was that first step. They're a couple of plays away from it now.
They were down by 21, now protecting a 7-point lead, but Anthony Calvillo's got time, and he's got Ben Cahoon, another vintage Cahoon catch to keep the Alouettes very much in this game.
Absolutely, and of course he's going to go to his go-to man, Ben Cahoon, in the slot back position, and you can't cover it any better than I believe it's Tad Cornegate covers it here. Jams him at the line, fights him in his hip pocket, but Ben Cahoon has done that so many times.
For Cahoon in the first down here in overtime. Calvillo and Sean Lucas there again, and immediately S.J. Green is dropped.
Now the strategy changes for Mark Trestman and for Anthony Calvillo because they're playing 3-down football. They know what they have to do to match.
First game of the year, we've had 796 passing yards. 2nd and 10. Quickly, Calvillo, and does that pull off the turf? It's incomplete.
Saying no catch. Janelle Richardson.
Umpire Gene Patterson right there. Richardson tried to sell that off his shoe tops. And now it's down to one play. 3rd and 10.
Not much of an argument at all from Richardson. So
Ken Miller said this was a measuring stick game. Well, they've measured up in the second half, one play away What does Anthony Calvillo have left? Flag down into the end zone. Wide open, but incomplete. What's the flag? 2 flags down. And again, when it looks like the Rough Riders are victorious, flags are on the field.
And could it be?
Don't say too many men. That is unfathomable.
You have got to be kidding me. Too many men.
Too many men. Saskatchewan.
Oh my.
Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And look at the reaction of the fans. Anything but too many men.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
First down. Inside the 10. Anthony Calvillo steps up, dumps it off. Coburn can't get to the corner, dropped at the 2. But a script that was remarkable as it was just became even too much for Hollywood.
It is. It is unbelievable. Calvillo scores here. Now the game is far from over. The scores here, they need the 2-point convert. But the disbelief, like how does it happen?
Second and goal from just outside the 1. AC into the end zone, working against Alexander, and he's got it. S.J. Green beats Donovan Alexander in the corner. And a convert away from round 2 of overtime.
In the Grey Cup, it was the special teams. In the rematch to start the 2010 season, it was the defense. And Calvillo 1 play away here from tying it, but 2-point converts aren't as easy as they look. You've got to make 1 play here to extend the football game.
Perfect throw by Calvillo, you're right. 2-point convert necessary. What a cool twist of fate. If the Alouettes are able to tie it. But they still need 1 more play. Back that way, it's incomplete. Oh, what a catch! How did he catch that? That is the catch of the year right now. S.J. Green has tied the game when that ball looked like it was out of reach.
And they will take another look at this. But what a catch. Now, did he get his foot in bounds?
It's under review.
No question they're going to take a look if it's this close to the goal line, but he leaves in bounds. What a catch on the goal line.
No doubt the feet are down. Was their possession. It doesn't get better than that.
His elbow touch. Now, did his elbow touch inside of the white stripe?
Glenn, we had such a great angle on the line of fire here. That ball looked like it was just unreachable.
It was some kind of catch no matter how it's ruled. If that elbow touch is inbounds, then he's down there. Just freeze it 1 more split there. Hold it there, fellas. He's got possession. That elbow is inside the white stripe.
And we have a candidate for catch of the year. Wow.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. The convert was good.
What a catch.
What a game.
Timeout.
We're going to switch ends, take a break. And we'll be back for round 2 of overtime. Now, a reminder, when this game does reach conclusion, we'll hit to McMahon. No score. Stamps and Argos. That game available on TSN 2. We've got another round of overtime. An unbelievable catch by S.J. Green.
But you wonder though, Chris, like, how can the Saskatchewan Roughriders bounce back mentally? They have to come out with this series right here and try and bounce back after the too many men. Gary Etcheverry's defense, one too many with the game won. Gave Montreal another chance.
Durant with a career high. Alouettes go first this time. And that ball knocked down. Tad Portugay off the edge.
Now the Alouettes won the toss at the beginning of overtime, and they elected to play defense first. That's why they're playing offense to start the second game.
When you make that decision, you're trying to win it in round 1, and now suddenly it does revert to advantage Saskatchewan in the second round. You'd like to know what the other team's done. Well, we've said Montreal's across the league. Saskatchewan step for step with them. Second down. Calvillo unloads and out of the reach of Brian Bratton. Brings up 3rd and 10. And they'll have to send the field goal unit on.
A little bit of pressure there for Brent Hawkins. We haven't talked much about the 2 defensive ends to replace Stevie Baggs and John Schick and Luke Mullender and Brent Hawkins, but this time he does get a little pressure and forces Anthony Calvillo up into the pocket. Number 90 coming around the corner along with Kitwana Jones. Forces that throw to be off a little bit, so it'll be field goal. The Riders know they get the ball, they'll have to match the field goal. Go for the win.
From 42. Not a sure thing. And Duval nails it. Clutch kick by Duval. And it's 51-48 in the CFL season opener.
It's just amazing. It is just amazing. Now the pressure mounts for this offense for Saskatchewan. The end of November, too many men cost the Riders a Grey Cup championship, and that's taking nothing away from the comeback to Montreal and how great a season they had. Too many men tonight has put them in this situation.
Need at least 3, can win it. For the touchdown. Play action, looks downfield. Weston Dressler, catch! Is it a touchdown? They'll mark him at the 2. What a spectacular catch by Dressler, and it's been a showcase for the league in its first game of the year.
S.J. Green with a huge catch under pressure to extend it for the Montreal Alouettes and the 2-point convert. And this just about matches it, doesn't it? Coverage all over him. Dressler lays out.
Now for the win. From the 3. Kate, no. Now it's Cates. Does he have it? No, Dressler, touchdown! And the Rough Riders have gained a measure of revenge in the most remarkable of fashions.
Back-to-back catches for Weston Dressler, who did not play in the Grey Cup game. twice. Gerald Brown all over the back of number 7, and twice he comes up with the catch.
5 touchdown passes for Darien Durant, a breathtaking season opener that may have haunted the Rough Riders all season long if it hadn't ended like that. Rough Riders were down by 21, but they roared back to win in overtime.